Alright guys, it has been a few days since the last instalment of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup, but we are back today with a bang. We've got some juicy transfer rumours to hop into, some more managerial talk, and some done deals to go through as well. As always, want to hear your guys' thoughts on your transfer window so far in the comments down below. But without any further ado, let's jump in. So we had the Michael Duff announcement made by Swansea. We were expecting this one on the back of Southampton appointing Russell Martin. Very excited about this, it has to be said. Duff taking over Barnsley in the situation that they were in last season. Very impressive job and thoroughly deserved this step up to the Championship now with this Swansea side. Hopping over to some done deals, we saw Sunderland complete a deal for Ince. The Dutch defender comes over with quite the reputation. We spoke about him in yesterday's video. He is one of the Championship transfers that I'm most excited about heading into next season, so make sure to check out yesterday's video for a bit more of a deeper dive on him. We also touched on Koji Mayoshi, who's joined up with Birmingham from Royal Antwerp. The Japanese international comes with quite an exciting reputation. He has struggled with some injuries over the past couple of seasons, but when fit looks to be an exciting player who could offer that Blues side a bit of a different dynamic in the final third next season. Some big news coming out of QPR, and that's that Lyndon Dykes has penned a new deal with the club until the summer of 2026. Now Dykes has been at the centre of quite a bit of attention. Millwall, Rangers all interested in the Scottish forward, but in the end he's gone ahead and committed his future to QPR. Now I see both the pros and cons to this one. Cons, I still see Dykes as a little bit wasteful. I think that QPR need to bring in other players to get the best out of him, other players who will chip in with that consistent goal flow. But the positive is, I do think Dykes is a natural fit into a Gareth Ainsworth side. Very physical striker who will win a lot of knock-ons and aerial duels, and that's exactly what Gareth Ainsworth requires from his forward. We saw Sean Morrison and Lee Peltier both penning new deals at Rotherham as well. Good news for the Millers, keeping that bit of experience in that back line will surely serve them well heading into next season. A huge signing here for Ipswich Town. They've got Jack Taylor through the door. Now they have long been linked with the Peterborough midfielder. We previously spoke about him on an episode of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup, and at one stage it did seem as if Ipswich had walked away from these negotiations as a deal had got a little bit too expensive for them, but it seems as if they played an absolute blinder with their negotiations as they went back in for this deal and in the end got it over the line for a price that they deemed to be acceptable. 25 years old, 9 goals, 6 assists last season in League One. He was one of the outstanding midfielders in that position. He was one of the outstanding midfielders in that division last season. And you've got to say, Ipswich's squad slowly starting to shape up quite well for Championship football. Dara O'Shea's move to Burnley has also gone through. Solid Championship defender last season, started in 37 matches for the Baggies, and at 24 years old is a player who Vincent Kompany will be looking to mould into something going into next season. Obviously Burnley were looking a little bit light in that area with Taylor Howard-Bellis returning to Manchester City, so he's a player who I think will be a decent option for Burnley in the Premier League, and West Brom have also got a decent fee for him as well. I'd suggest in and around £7 million. Well, those are some of the done deals we've seen go through in the Championship over the past few days. Now without any further ado, let's hop into the rumours. So we'll start out with the news we had on Ryan Giles. Now no doubt Middlesbrough fans will be keen on getting him back for next season, but Leicester City are reportedly in the market for the Wolves defender. He was one of the outstanding players in that Borough side last season under Michael Carrick, got 11 assists, the most of any fullback last season in the Championship. And this transfer link to Leicester is an interesting one, as going over their squad at the moment doesn't look as if they're in desperate need of another left-sided defender, but with someone like Giles, what he brings is a ton of versatility along with his creative numbers as well. He's comfortable playing anywhere down that left-hand side, whether that's his left wing back, a left back itself, or even as part of a forward three. We did see him in a forward three quite a few times while on loan at Cardiff. So the 23-year-old has plenty to offer and is one of the Championship's top performers. He's showcased that over the past couple of loan spells he's had at this level. Now he's contracted with Wolves until 2025 and could yet be afforded some more first team opportunities at Molineux, or the club could consider cashing in on him this summer while his value is hot after a successful loan spell with Middlesbrough. So watch this space with that one. We'll see if we get any more developments over the next week or so. Middlesbrough are the latest club to be linked with Everton striker Ellis. No doubt we'll be talking about the 22-year-old quite a bit throughout the following weeks and months until a a final decision is made on his future. We spoke last time about some of the other Championship clubs who are in the market for the Everton forward, and no doubt this is a position which Middlesbrough are closely monitoring at the moment. In an ideal world, they'll get Cameron Archer back on another loan deal for next season, but it remains to be seen what Aston Villa are going to be doing with Archer after he did so well, obviously, in the second half of last season with Borough. Well, I think a different player to Archer and not someone with as high of a ceiling. Still a very useful player for a number of Championship clubs who are being linked with him at the moment. And we've seen Burnley have their latest bid rejected for Millwall forward Zian Flemming. Burnley reportedly considering whether to go back in for a fresh bid. The local press are reporting that any such deal for Flemming will have to break a club record for Millwall in terms of their record sale, which is currently George Saville, who was sold for £8 million back in 2019. Now, Flemming last season in the Championship was absolutely fantastic. I saw him come to Deepdale and almost single-handedly tear us apart, scored a hat-trick against Preston last season. Millwall bought him for just £1.7 million last summer, and there's no release clause, I'm led to believe, in his contract either. So Millwall very much in a strong bargaining position to drive up the price for Flemming right now. They're in no desperate need to go ahead and sell, and you can definitely see why a club like Burnley would be interested. I think that someone like Flemming in the Premier League under Vincent Kompany would all be very exciting, but they're going to have to pay the big bucks to go ahead and get a deal over the line. Middlesbrough are the latest club to register an interest in Manchester City goalkeeper James Trafford. Now, he was absolutely fantastic on loan last season with Bolton. During his spell in League One, kept 22 clean sheets, boasted a save percentage of 78.8%, which was the second best record in League One last season. And it's no secret that Middlesbrough are after a goalkeeper. There have been strong links to Carl Darlow as well, which we've discussed in previous videos, but someone like Trafford would be a massive signing, you know, on loan for any Championship club. Now, along with Middlesbrough's interest, they will have to fend off interest from Premier League suitors, with newly promoted Burnley and Sheffield United also among the clubs interested. Now, Middlesbrough do seem to have a decent working relationship with Manchester City. Obviously, they had Zach Stefan on loan from Man City last season, and someone like Trafford I think would be absolutely brilliant to see in the Championship next season and to continue that development. But with a couple of Premier League clubs sniffing around this one as well, wouldn't be an easy deal to pull off. We've spoken about Alex Scott quite a few times on the last few transfer rumour roundup videos, and he's since been linked with a move to Inter Milan. Now, there's of course plenty of interest from Premier League clubs at this stage, but a move to Inter would be quite something. Now, previously we clarified Bristol City are looking for at least 25 million to go ahead and sell Scott this summer. Well, the Italian press have reported that Inter are considering a bid of around 18 million euros, which would fall quite a way below Bristol City's current asking price, but time will tell if Inter would be prepared to come up from that asking price and whether or not they could be a realistic rival to the English clubs that are looking at Scott. Quite a bizarre transfer line that we got recently. Preston being linked with a move for Ryan Mai. The Moroccan international's also been linked with a move to Luton Town of late. Now, the report came from Football Insider. It claimed that Preston were looking for a loan to buy option, with the buy option being around £3 million, which would be a record fee for North End. But local press have since sort of claimed that there's not too much in these rumours as things stand, and so I think we can put that one to bed for the time being. Was an exciting rumour while it lasted, but I mean, I, for one, cannot see Preston spending anywhere near that sort of figure, let alone on one player, unless we were to have significant player sales this summer. Perhaps a bit more of a realistic rumour is North End have also been linked with a move for Accrington's Tommy Lee. No secret that we are looking for a creative midfielder, someone from midfield who can chip in with a few more goals next season. In League One last time around for Accrington, he scored 7 goals and got 2 assists. He's also only got 1 year left to run on his contract at Accrington, and going off recent reports, is said to be valued at around £200,000. A few League One clubs have also been linked with a move for the midfielder, but Preston seem to be sniffing around this one. Wilfried Gnonto is a player that Leeds United will do very well to keep hold of going into next season. While the 19-year-old only started 14 league matches for Leeds last season, his talent is obvious to see, and he has already been linked with a handful of Premier League clubs. Crystal Palace, the latest team that I've seen linked with the Italian teenager. Now, as of recording, no official bids have gone in for Gnonto or anything along those lines. He's contracted with Leeds for at least another 4 years, and so they very much hold the cards when it comes to dictating his value and that sort of thing. Also read an interesting article recently recently about the 49ers and how ambitious they're looking to be in the Championship this season and how they are looking to keep hold of a lot of their key assets, so time will tell on that front. In terms of a potential incoming, Amad Diallo has been linked with a move to Leeds United. Leeds reportedly interested in the Man United youngster to bring him to Ellen Road on a loan deal for next season. Now, Diallo lit up the Championship last season. He was one of the main driving forces behind Sunderland and them sneaking into the top 6 on the final day, and the end scored a cracker of a goal away at Deepdale on the final day, and that's what we all sort of became accustomed to, that wonder of a left foot from outside the box and how good he was at unpicking defences. Even has shades of someone like a Rafinha about him, who Leeds fans obviously know all about. Now, Sunderland would obviously be keen on getting Diallo back as of recording, and what I am led to understand, Erik ten Hag will assess Diallo throughout pre-season before making any final judgments on him, whether or not that means sending him out on loan for another year or whether he is deemed to be fit and ready to be around that United first team this season. What could be a potential stumbling block for Leeds is that there is Premier League interest in Diallo as things stand, but these Premier League loan deals usually take a little bit of time to iron out. And as of recording, it seems as if Joe Bryan is close to a move over to Millwall. At one stage, a move to Bristol City seemed very close, or a union with Bryan and Bristol City, but that deal fell through in the end, and at the time it seems as if Bryan was favouring a move abroad and to carry on that European journey. However, Millwall are now being heavily linked with the former Bristol City fullback, who's obviously had some great years with Fulham, plenty of Premier League experience in that time as well. And I have to say, if Millwall got that deal over the line, their squad for next season really is shaping up quite nicely, especially if they keep hold of Flemming. Blackburn youngster Adam Walton is a wanted man at this point in time. Now, it's easy to see why Rovers fans rate him so highly, but he does also have his admirers in the Premier League as well, with both Newcastle and Everton said to be interested in the teenager. Now, what's been discussed is a potential deal for Walton, which could see him then being loaned back to Blackburn for the next upcoming Championship season, which could work out for both parties. Now, I have to admit, Blackburn are in a pretty strong position to negotiate here. Walton, not too long ago, signed a new long-term contract with the club. He's contracted with Rovers until at least the summer of 2027, and so we're not likely to see a repeat of the Brereton Diaz scenario where he ended up leaving on a free transfer or anything like that. Blackburn very much hold all the cards at this point in time, and we'll wait and see if those offers do flow in from Everton and Newcastle. West Ham are said to be interested in a move for Sunderland defender Daniel Ballard. Now, we mentioned last summer that this signing was always going to be a hit for Sunderland after how well Ballard had done previously out on loan at Millwall. This one just ticks so many boxes, and while he did have a somewhat frustrating season where he had a couple of big injury layoffs, missed the tail end of last season with that hamstring injury, his potential is clear to see, and it's not that much of a surprise to see a few Premier League clubs now sniffing around the 23-year-old. Now, Sunderland are in a strong position to dictate his value. He's contracted with the club until at least 2025. I believe the club also have an option of a further year on top of that as well. So, Sunderland fans, in the comments down below, name your price. What would it take for you to be tempted to cash in on Ballard? And as of recording, it looks as if Watford are on the verge of signing Tom Ince. We recently spoke about that ridiculously cheap relegation release clause he had in his contract with Reading, and he had since been linked with a handful of Championship clubs. Norwich were also said to be interested in the 31-year-old. Now, Ince is an interesting one. Prior to this season just gone by, he'd really fallen off his overall stock. His time at Stoke did not go to plan at all, but last season for Reading did show moments of quality and was probably their most consistent player in the end, scoring 9 goals and picking up 4 assists. Can play in a variety of positions, and while I wouldn't expect him to be a game changer for a side like Watford pushing for the top 6, I think could be a solid squad player in there to add a little bit more creativity to that midfield. A little bit of bad news here for Stoke fans who are hopeful of getting Ben Pearson back for next season, because Luton are reportedly in the market for the Bournemouth holding midfielder. Now, I could see something in this move, if I'm being honest. I think that Bournemouth would be willing to let Pearson go. They obviously loaned him out for the second half of last season and did well for Stoke while in the starting 11. Only real underlying factor to take into consideration with Pearson is that he has had a few injury layoffs over these last few years. But at his very best, I do think he is a top-end Championship player who is capable of pushing on to that Premier League standard. Obviously does have a handful of appearances for Bournemouth in the Premier League to go off previously. Plenty of Championship interest in Josh Key at the moment. He is available on a free transfer, the 23-year-old who has had some really solid years with Exeter. The likes of West Brom, Swansea and Plymouth all said to be interested. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content. Apart from that, guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you all in the next one.